Hi, Taurus. Welcome to Spirit Mail. We are going to talk about spirit-guided energy focus, where in health and wellness, in family, friend, and coworker relationships, and in career and finance, where can we focus our energy that's going to serve us to our highest and best good? God, guides, angels, archangels, and Holy Spirit, we thank you so much for tarot as a tool, and I thank you so much for my Taurus friends. Show us clearly where's the best place that we can focus our energies as it relates to health and wellness, as it relates to family, friend, and coworker relationships, and as it relates to career and finance. We thank you for clear and concise messages. We thank you for love, light, and prosperity. And we thank you for clarification, confirmation, and validation. Okay. Health and wellness. We're looking at foundations and achievements. And in family, friend, and coworker relationships, we're looking at movement, choices, and decisions. And in career and money, we're looking at material and financial changes. Okay. So before we get some depth to the conversation with some clarifiers, we're going to get an overarching message from Spirit. God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, show us the overarching message for Taurus as it relates to this reading today. We thank you for clear and concise messages. We thank you for love, light, and prosperity. And we thank you for clarification, confirmation, and validation. Peaks of joy. This is great. Okay, obviously she is flying high, right? And she's flying high and she's flying free. Look, there is a butterfly right there, right? The butterfly is about transformation. Something's changing in her life that's given her this freedom to fly. And it's a master number, 33. So let's see what this message is. Peaks of joy. Let's see. It says, your life is filled with happiness, so share it with others. Joy is yours today. No matter what your inquiry, you will be happy with the results. You're coming closer to a sense of achievement, and you've worked hard for it. You're surrounded by true companions and events that are synchronistically arranged to bring you to the next level of your life. The world is singing a beautiful harmony. Life is exhilarating and hopeful. Let gratitude fill your heart and remember to share your happiness. Joy is contagious. Okay, so I must admit I'm just a little bit confused about this card with these two, with the relationships in family, friend, and coworkers, and with the career and finance card. However, Spirit never fails with their message, so we're going to get to the meat of the conversation and let them explain further what they're talking about with these energies. So God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, we thank you so much for the messages on the table. Please show us clearly give us the meat of the conversation. Why are we looking at foundations and achievements in health and wellness? Why are we looking at movement, changes, and decisions in family, friends, and coworkers? And why are we looking at financial and material changes in career and finance? We thank you for clear and concise messages. We thank you for love, light, and prosperity. And we thank you for clarification, confirmation, and validation. Show us clearly what are the messages. Okay, so in health and wellness with foundation and achievements, we've got the Four of Swords. And we've got, wow, the Ace of Swords. Okay, this is awesome. In family, friends, and coworkers, we have the Seven of Cups. And we have, wow, the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. In career and finance, we have clarifying financial material changes. We have Three of Cups. And we have Three of Pentacles. There's that master number again. 3, 3. Okay, so I love this. And it goes to show you how our mind, remember whenever I was shuffling the cards and I pulled out peaks of joy and I said, I'm confused. Why are we getting peaks of joy? And it's talking about happiness within whenever I'm seeing these cards about decisions and changes, because sometimes we can, get a little stressed out with decisions and changes. But the truth is there's an underlying happiness going on, and this part of it appears to be like a little, it's something that's going to change your life in a very positive way. So we're going to get into the reading here. Okay, so health and wellness. Okay, that's mind, body, and spirit. We start with this, foundations and achievements, and it's the 4. It's the same as the 4 of Wands in the Tarot. Now, in the 4 of Wands card, everybody thinks that's about bliss, happiness, marriage, all that other stuff, soulmate connections, twin flames, all that stuff. But this is about you. This is health and wellness for you. And so it's asking you to look at the rainbow, look at the bright side, right? Always look at the good things that come out of situations and focus on those, because that's where you get your firm footing. The 4 wands standing up like this, the structure stands on top very balanced because you have a firm footing when you have 4 pillars in place, right? So it's talking about the foundations and the achievements, and so focus on those good things, on those solid things, right? And then you have the 4 of swords, and that's about truth, right? And again, there's that number 4. It's about firm footing. There's some truths that you've realized about yourself and about who you are, and I feel like Spirit is saying this is what gives you the confidence and the stability in who you are. So let's stay focused on that, because whenever we stay true to us, we have less disruption in our life. We have less room for, I'm not saying it never happens, but less room for detours and potholes and stuff like that we have to navigate. And this right here is the Ace of Swords. It's like Spirit has handed you this truth, but not only have they handed you this truth, they've handed you the ability to understand it and grasp on to it in a way that leaves you in a place of firm foundations and achievements in your life. So whenever we have this flow going on, it's like things are working right, then we don't worry. We don't worry about being who somebody else thinks we should be. We don't worry about bending over backwards for other people. Whenever we don't worry, our systems work better, right? So our mind, our body, and our spirit are all in coherence. We're all working as one together within ourselves. I hope that makes sense to you. It makes sense to me, but I know words sometimes don't do it. So in family, friend, and coworker relationships, we have 2, right? And it says movement, choices, and decisions. So again, sometimes there's a possibility that things can fall away from us. Relationships change. Whenever we become who we are, especially if we have somebody in our life who has been able to cause us to be somebody else, okay? If somebody in our life can cause us to make ourselves small or make ourselves squash our own light, right? We have to decide, this is a choice. Are we going to move forward in that way? Or are we going to remain true to who we are, because that's where our firm footing comes from, when we can be who we are. And that's when we find these peaks of joy, this internal happiness, when we can be true to ourselves. Because when we're not true to us, there's an internal struggle that goes on where it's like there's there's the good, the I see the picture of the little the angel and the devil, and it's like the devil takes over and says, well, for anybody to accept you, you're going to have to be this. And so the angel puts their head down and they're sad because because they really want their wings to spread and they really want to fly. And it's like that higher self in you, that inner child in you, the soul of who you are wants to be all that you came here to be. So, and that's when we walk in this feeling. So I feel like Spirit's reminding you that whenever you're looking at your health and wellness, your mind, body, your spirit connection, all that stuff, is to be true to who you are. And this right here, this is saying, you have a lot of options here, okay? You can be who this person wants you to be, or you can be who that person wants you to be, or you can try to be who they all want you to be. But if you focus on your higher self, your spirit guides and all that stuff, then your choice becomes being true to who you are. Because when we're true to who we are, we walk in that firm, stable place. We have less times where we find ourselves in potholes or ruts or anything like that. There's, not saying they don't ever exist, but we don't stay there as long. And because we are who we are, we manifest into our lives relationships that are equal to us, relationships that the people are on the same footing. We don't have to bend over backwards for anybody, and we don't expect anybody to bend over backwards for us. We don't expect anybody to change for us, and they're not asking us to change for them. They love who we are. They love the fact that we walk in our truth and that we exhibit the best part of ourselves. They love that about us, right? So I feel like Spirit's saying, these choices and decisions, it is your decision. You can decide to continue to bow down to others and let them color your world, or in some cases it might be you requiring other people trying to color their world or whatever. But I feel like this is about you more than about you allowing other people to color your world. And Spirit saying you will manifest, be true to yourself, and you will manifest into your life the relationships that enhance you, that are equal to you. Not saying that you're better than anybody else or that anybody else is better than you, just different. People have different needs. People are different places on their journey and stuff like that. So these choices are yours. It's yours to decide. How do you want to move forward? And let me tell you something. Making a decision to move forward in your truth does not mean that you don't love these other people or that other person or whatever. It only means that you love yourself too, and you love yourself enough to be true to who you are. And whenever we do that, what happens is we enable the other person to be who they are, to find their truth and to walk in that. Sometimes relationships can seem to be a certain way, but they're actually pretty codependent, where we're actually enabling somebody to stay in their junk. When we bend over, when we allow our world to be colored so that, or make ourselves small so that we don't upset the apple cart, what we're doing is we're giving them permission to keep staying in their junk. And so that enables them. It's time to take the pacifier out of the mouth, is what I just saw. Take the pacifier out of the mouth. It's time to learn to live without that. Not for you, but possibly for some of these relationships around you. It's time to cut those apron strings, because they will never be all they can be if we continue to enable unhealthy behavior. And then you get to walk in your fullness, which brings you this joy, which brings you these places of happiness. It's like it frees you. It frees you to be who you are. And Taurus, we all have that. That's one of those inalienable rights. It's like nobody can take that away from us unless we allow them to. Okay, so financial and material changes in the workspace, okay? Again, whenever we're walking in this firm place, in this absolute understanding of who we are and what our strengths are, right? And we we decide to, instead of letting all these other people and their emotional stuff determine who we are, we decide to focus on the best part of us that we came here to experience. And what happens is it manifests different relationships in our life. Look what it manifests in the workplace: material and financial changes. Now, in the traditional tarot, this is sometimes looked at as a negative card because it's the Five of Pentacles. It's the lady walking past with her head down, and there's this little crippled boy following her, and it looks so desperate and all that. But this is not negative or positive. This says, what is it going to be for you? Because you get to change it, right? Look, but Spirit's saying, when you focus on this firm footing, when you focus on these fours, what's the stableness in your life? It's your truth. That's when you walk in the most stableness. And look, you have changes that are worth celebrating, and you have changes that are very fruitful. This is a creative, passionate, purposeful project that you could collaborate with other people or just with your higher self, and it brings forth fruit. It brings forth good fruit into your life in the material world. Good fruit, right? This isn't about the spiritual fruits of the Spirit. This is about coins. This is about changing your life in the material world. That's the kind of fruit it brings forth. So not only but this is about leaving behind those old behaviors. Look at all the red right there, where we think that it's our job to make other people happy. And so, sometimes our spouse doesn't want us to take a job where we have to travel because they don't want us to, depending on what the reason is. I mean, sometimes that's a valid concern, but if it's because they don't want us, okay, I'm gonna give you a real good example. My daughter, and I know she won't mind me telling this story, she got a real estate license right out of high school and was doing very, 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 very well. And a year or so later, she and her little boyfriend moved in together, and he didn't want her going to show houses to people because he didn't want her to, he didn't want other guys to flirt with her. He didn't want her to wait tables because he didn't want other guys to flirt with her. I mean, that kind of stuff, right? So guess what she did? She made herself small. She backed up from that. She backed up from something that really gave her a lot of joy to accommodate him in that relationship. So whenever we do that, we don't have reason to celebrate. But that's an old way of thinking. She's moved past that now. And not because Mama told her to, because Mama, thank God, finally grew up and realized that when she pushes against something, it makes it worse, right? So Mama never told her that. But guess what? Spirit took care of her and showed her all by herself. Spirit did it, not me, that she's worthy. She's worthy of being celebrated. She's worthy of having the kind of life that brings her happiness and reason to be happy with herself, and that she has this creative streak in her that she can earn money in different ways. I mean, there's so many things that we allow our old mindsets think. We're told that, or I don't know if the whole world's told this. I know in my culture, we're told that as a wife and as a mother, we give up our lives for our family, right? So, and that means put the husband first, the kids first, and me and my job last, or put the work first, or whatever. Everything comes before us. But what happens then is that we drain so much of ourselves away. We drain so much of our truth away. The spark within us gets squashed, and we're not ourselves anymore. We lose ourselves in that, and we find ourselves depressed. We find ourselves heartbroken. We find ourselves frustrated. We find ourselves, me, praying for 5 months before I left my husband, 5 months every night, praying that God would just let me die in my sleep, because I was done. I'd given everything that I could give, and there was nothing left of me to give. So it's like, I'm getting pretty passionate about this, but Taurus, I don't know, somebody out there needs to hear this. There's our joy. We do it. We put we take I'm seeing a one of those things that puts out the light on a candle. We smolder that light out of ourselves over a period of time, thinking that it's our job to sacrifice for others. That true love means that we lay down our life for somebody else. But if I lay down my life for you, and what it does is in fact continue to allow you to walk in your junk, then I'm not doing you any favors. I'm keeping you on the pacifier. So if I walk out in my truth and in my strength, and I'm not saying you have to leave your husband, you have to leave your wife. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about any kind of relationship. When we walk out in our truth and walk into our truth, if those things fall away, well, then they were meant to fall away, because those people, those relationships, those jobs have some other way to grow that doesn't include us. And that there's some way that we need to grow that doesn't include them. Spirit truly does have our back. Spirit really will walk us into our fullness if we remain true to who we were created to be, and if we allow Spirit to give us that truth and walk in that truth, and focus on the firm foundation of who we were created to be. Okay, let's do a PS real quick. These Earth readings have gone on longer than any of the other ones. So you guys have some stuff going on, it looks like. God, guides, angels, archangels, Holy Spirit, I thank you so much for my Taurus friends. Show me clearly, what is the PS for this message? We thank you for clear and concise messages. We thank you for love, light, and prosperity. And we thank you for clarification, confirmation, and validation. And before I pull the cards, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much. You rock my world. The subscribes, the likes, the shares, the comments, the ringing the bell, the passersby who engage in the community by liking and commenting and all that, the personal reading requests and the donations, all of it, y'all blow my mind, and I am so grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you. P.S. Look, this is about a different way of looking at things, right? It's about letting those old things, look at all that red, that's root chakra, that's a foundational belief that no longer serves us. Not everything in the root chakra is a foundational belief that no longer serves us, but some of us have those foundational beliefs that no longer serve us. And I feel like that's what they're saying. We have a choice to hang on to the old way of doing things, or to move forward, knowing that when we actually do love ourselves, that we actually become better family members. We're better family members. We're better friends, because we allow other people to live their life too. And we bring into our life more equal relationships. So it's about backing up and looking at things differently, Taurus. And some of that's going to come with heartache, right? Some of that's going to come with heartache because some of our friends, some of our families, some of our coworkers, they're not going to accept that. Somebody told me one time, whenever you give and give and give and give to somebody, and then you get to a position where you can't give anymore, you're the bad guy. You've done so much for so many people, and then all of a sudden, when you say no because you need to take care of yourself, you're the bad guy because you're not putting them before you. I have a friend that called me one time and was telling me that I was being very selfish about something, and she just went on and on and on and on. I said, hold up. You're expecting me to live my life, to change my life, to be somebody, to benefit somebody else, regardless of what that does to my soul and my spirit. I feel like that's the selfish thing. For anybody else to expect me, or for me to expect somebody else to change who they are for me. It's not selfish for us to be who we are. And it's not selfish for us to allow other people to be who they are. So there's going to be some heartache in this. There's going to be some people feeling like, what's wrong with you that you cut that stream off? What's wrong with you that you're not going to bow down to the way I want you to be anymore. What's wrong with you? And it's going to hurt your feelings because you've given to them for a very long time from your heart because you truly love people. So you've given to them from a place of love and from a place of genuinely wanting to help them. And I feel like Spirit's asking you now, give back to yourself the same way you've given to others. And pay attention, right? The Eight of Pentacles is about really paying attention to details and being meticulous about the steps that you take as you do this, and not leaving yourself out in the process. And guess what? There's a lot of pentacles there. We prosper when we do that, right? We prosper whenever we pay attention to things and we truly learn what's actually going on here. So, Taurus, very strong reading. Again, these earth signs, you guys have gone on longer than anybody else in these spirit-guided energy focused messages. So I feel like there's lots of changes happening in your life. I love you guys so much. Thanks for stopping in. And please have a super duper day. Bye.